Hello friends, today I am making a pot roast. I do it a little different, but like other things, but I have here a chuck roast, and I'm going to season it with this Kinder's seasoning, the Buttery. You can use Montreal seasoning, you can use just any type of seasoning that you like, and I'm going to put it on and brown it, and then I'll show you what I do next. Okay, I have the roast browned, so I'm going to put it on a plate. And what I do next is turn the burner down, and I put a little bit of flour. Actually, I'm going to put a little bit more oil. I just use avocado oil. That's what I like the best. And you can use any kind of oil. And we're going to make a roux. You want this to get really good and brown. With all those seasonings in there. I always love making roast. I could put this in the crock pot, which I do sometimes, but I really love making a roast in the iron pot. It just, I don't know, to me it tastes better for some reason, so that's what I usually use. But if I can't be here all day, or I just want to leave the house and just put it on, I'll put it in the crock pot. So while this is browning, I will keep stirring, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and make the gravy. This usually takes a little bit of time to brown really good, but you want it brown. And so the longer you cook the roux, the browner it'll get. And I had an aunt years ago that taught me how to make gravy, and it's always turned out good. But most people don't put their roast in gravy, but I do, because it's just what I've always done. It really makes it taste good, and you don't have to do all the making for gravy when you've already got it in the pot. Usually I don't even have to thicken it or anything. It's turns out so good. And so I'll go ahead. Now what I do is I add a packet of Beefy onion soup to it, about 2 cups of water, and stir that up real good. And then I just put it in the pot. And that's what I use instead of water. Just a little at a time. And usually 2 cups is just about right every time. It already smells so good. And just all the onions in here cooking along with the roast, it makes it great. And I follow the same routine. I don't usually I usually do the same thing I do when the same thing whenever I make the pot roast in a crock pot. I don't normally put vegetables in there with it, like potatoes and carrots and that sort of thing. I've always just kind of made them separate. Sometimes I will, but most of the time, especially if it's a crock pot meal, I'll usually put them in there. But most of the time I just make mashed potatoes, and sometimes I'll make carrots in a separate dish. But so you just keep stirring that till you can kind of get all the little brown part off the bottom, so it kind of loosens it up, and you just want all that good flavor in there. All right, so then you just take the roast and put it back in there. This is a pretty good sized roast, so I had to kind of, and then of course put your drippings right in there, because that's all goodness. Okay, so I'm going to put this in a 250-degree oven, and it'll cook most of the day. I'll leave it in here till probably, see, it's right now it's 12 o'clock. Probably at least 4 to 6 hours is how long I'll cook this in the oven. So, and I may turn it down a little bit even more, but that's a good amount of time. So I will be back when it's all finished and show you the end results. Okay. So I have prepared some carrots. I have got probably about 7 or 8 carrots I cut up, and I made some butter with some garlic, and I put some honey in with it, and poured it over the carrots, and I put some parsley on top of the carrots, and I can't wait to see how they turned out. I've made these before, and they seem to be a hit with my family. Okay, now I'm preparing the mashed potatoes for our roast, and I'm putting about a half a stick of butter, depending on how much you are making, is how much you would want to put. I also will put a little bit of milk, but also I like to put either half and half or cream in it. First time I made this for my future husband, he said, "You make mashed potatoes like no one's business. I've never had mashed potatoes like this." So that made me feel really good. But also, it just gives it a little bit of richness. And so I just use a mixer. I know a lot of people use just a masher, which also works great. But, and I just kind of eyeball how much I put in of everything. But I like them fairly kind of fluffy, and that's what the mixer kind of gives it. In there of flour and water. And then this is what the roast beef looks like. So it's going to be really good. I can't wait to serve it up.